even in the way that they dressed, in the way that they were presenting themselves, they were expressing their politics. In other words, I found a wonderful diary by a very cranky Pennsylvania senator named William Maclay, and Maclay wrote everything down. His dreams, what he had for dinner, he heard someone whisper, his wig needs to be dressed. He wrote it down. He wrote everything down. And what he reveals in this wonderful diary is, as he's looking around at his colleagues in Congress and as they're looking at him, they're judging each other's politics based literally on their appearance and manner. So, for example, if you have a carriage, you want to be careful about how many horses you decide to have with your carriage. Too many horses and you're going to seem very monarchical, and that's a bad thing. Too few and you're not going to really seem properly elite. So you have to really manage to have a Republican, small r, the politically correct number of horses. And sounds kind of crazy, except there's actually an exchange of letters in which someone writes, a Virginian, writes to George Washington and says, that John Adams, he has 6 horses. We hear about that down here in Virginia, 6 horses. Highly inappropriate. And Washington writes back this sort of sad little letter in which he says, well, Mr. Adams is rather high-toned, but he actually only has 4 horses. Which makes the situation much better, clearly. Now, Adams, who's not a shy man, is not at all thrilled with the fact that his politics are being questioned because of the number of horses that are attached to his carriage. And so he writes this very sarcastic letter in which he says, not only do I have the proper amount of horses, but I walk more in the street than any other congressman, and I am thus the most virtuous man of them all. Clearly not taking it very seriously. But again, even that idea, walking in the street, is something that's politically correct. It makes you seem like you're willing to be there in the muck among the rest of the people. Washington, who was very savvy about all of this sort of symbolism, every afternoon at roughly 2 o'clock in the afternoon, George Washington strolled around the block for no other reason than to be seen strolling around the block. And he got fan mail for doing it. People wrote him from other states, great idea, the walk. We love it down here in Virginia. So these sorts of things had a real impact, or a quite amazing political impact. And so this first chapter really talks about the code of just behavior and dress and what it is, how do you act and look like a Republican, small r, Republican politician.